Hello, it's Amelia from the future, popping in to tell you that there is a special announcement about an upcoming project at the end of this video, so keep watching if you want to hear about that. To a survey if you would like to participate in an upcoming project. I would be very appreciative if you did. Okay, back to the actual video that you clicked on. Hello friends. Now, I love pockets just as much as the next seamstress, but there is something about whimsical handbags. I love them so much, and I want to make another one. So the last time I made a purse on this channel, I made a little box of chocolates for Valentine's Day, but I've made several others, including this slice of pie crocheted bag that I made to go see Sweeney Todd, because Sweeney Todd. So I want to make another purse, and I've been seeing these pictures all over Pinterest of bags that look like little houses or doll houses, and I love them. And I want one. And I just so happen to have my very own childhood dollhouse, which is the perfect size and shape and has a very lovely design. I actually have two of the exact same dollhouse. Why do I have two? I have no idea. It's not super important to the video either that I have two. I just thought it was interesting, and I also thought the shot would look cool for the intro. So I do think it's interesting to note the differences between the two because they have the exact same mold, but this one is a little bit older. It was made in 2000 according to the date printed on the bottom, and this one is 2004. Interesting to see, like, even though they have the exact same molds, the difference in the paint jobs. Like, this one is a little bit warmer toned than this one, and also this one has more of the details painted. There's this like trellis with the flowers, and the flowers are all painted, but on this one it's just all white. Yeah, all the sides on this one are unpainted. So because of that, I'm going to be using this house as the reference for my purse. I'm probably going to be making some tweaks to the design just based on personal preference and what materials I have on hand. So first things first, let's talk about structure. So for the dollhouse, that's where I put that piece of tape. Ugh, sorry, that was ADHD. So I have already built a little paper mock-up. Whoa. I want the bag to open up like this. A lot of the ones I've seen online open up like they're hinged at the top and lifts up like that. I like the idea of it opening like this. There's probably a reason all of the ones I've seen online open like that, and I will find that out, but that's the way I want to try to do it. But I've got some D-rings to attach here and here, and then I've got magnetic snaps for closures, so I will figure out how to go about installing those. And then I've also got a bag wireframe, purse frame. I've never used one of these, so these will be just like that to add some good structure to the opening part, because that's going to be what's handled the most, and I want that to be reinforced. I got all my hardware from Wallwack. They are my favorite supplier of bag hardware and sewing notions in general. For the structure of the bag, I want to use the heavyweight interfacing that I used in my box of chocolates bag that I did for Valentine's Day. I'm going to learn from my mistakes on that project and change the way I work with it, because I fused the interfacing to the outer fabric and then seamed that up and then had to turn that right side out, which was very difficult because it's very heavy and doesn't like to turn. And then I sewed a bag lining and put that in. So what I'm going to do for this purse is fuse the lining fabric to the interfacing and then sew that up, because the lining doesn't have to get turned right side out, the same way the outer fabric does. And then the outer fabric will be the like floating bag lining kind of style, and then I can just hand sew onto the seams to make sure it stays in place. It doesn't like shift around on the structure. For the main fabrics, I've got some pink cotton for the lining material. For the roof, I've got this more salmony orange pink linen look something fabric. For the walls, I have this white gauze, I think it is. I have no idea where I got this, but it's got this nice kind of crinkled texture, and I think that will give a nice effect for like the wood siding texture for the walls. So first thing I need to do is cut out my structural pieces from the interfacing. Let's go. I used basting spray to arrange all the side pieces of interfacing onto the lining fabric, and then used the iron to permanently fuse them. I made sure there was a little gap between each piece so the fabric had room to fold, and I could get some nice sharp corners. I did the same for the bottom piece and the main roof pieces, but I didn't touch the dormers yet because triangles were proving to be too much for me at the moment. But with the majority of the interfacing fused, I could sew them all up, and things were starting to take shape. I added some little extensions to the roof panels along the opening of the bag so I could add the magnet snaps. I also stitched on the wireframe to reinforce the open edge, and with that done, I finally felt brave enough to conquer the dormers, which went together exactly the same as the rest of the house, just more triangularly. For the outer fabric of the roof, I did some decorative top stitching to create the shingle pattern. On the actual dollhouse, the shingles are in an offset brick pattern, so I just sewed straight lines to make a grid, and then unpicked every other section of each vertical line of stitching to get that brick pattern, being careful to keep the loose ends on the back of the fabric. I added a lightweight fusible interfacing to the back to secure the remaining threads in place. When I did the larger pieces later on, I realized it was a lot easier to add the interfacing before unpicking, so I didn't lose any threads while I was working. What? You don't have thumbs, you can't iron! For the windows, I started with a bit of interfaced canvas and cut it into the correct shape. I used this light blue organza for the glass and attached it to the canvas with multiple passes of top stitching that also made the window mullions. I finished the edges with a little bias binding, and then I could hand sew them onto the dormers. The wireframe made this weird lump on the roof, so I smoothed it out with a few layers of cotton batting. With the outer fabric lightly clipped in place, I could stitch it onto the bag. I added little loops of the roof fabric with D-rings to the peak of the roof on the front and back so I could attach the strap later. So I finished the roof of the house. I hand stitched the dormers together and then stitched those on. And then I machine stitched on little fabric loops to attach the D-rings. The way I put where I have the D-rings, if they kind of pull out, then the sides kind of pull out as well. So what I think I'm gonna do is add just like a thin like jewelry chain. Whoa. So what I'm gonna do to fix that is add just a thin jewelry chain from like here to here and add a little clasp so it can be unhooked as needed, just to kind of keep these together. But yeah, the roof is done, so it's time to start doing the sides. I don't know what exactly first I want to do, because there's a lot going on here. I think I'll start with the front. Thus began the days of very fussy detail sewing, and also the days of me not remembering to film stuff, or explain what I'm doing. It was just a barrage of embroidery and applique and hand sewing and machine sewing where I wasn't even using the motor on the machine and was just riding the hand wheel. It was the kind of work that can only really be conveyed through montage. Okay, so all of the decorative detail work is all done, all the embroidery, all the applique, everything is finished. So now it's time to attach the side pieces to each other and then attach those to the bottom, and then I can put the outer layer onto the structure, and then I just need to add a strap, and then the whole purse is done and we can move on to the reveal. It is done. It's so cute. I'm so happy with the final result. I think it's exactly what I was picturing in my head. The one solitary thing I wish I had done, I wish I had tea stained this white fabric before I started, just so it was a little bit more of like an off-white cream color versus this pretty stark white. Seeing it next to the original dollhouse, it's a little bit cooler, a little bit less saturated, a little more Werner Herzog, Sad Beige Children. I think my favorite detail on this is the raccoon climbing into the trash can. I love him so much. The cat's on the fence with the trellis is a close second. I'm really happy with it. It's super cute. Very spacious purse. I could fit like a whole sub sandwich in there if I cut it up. I don't know why that's my unit of measurement for this. I did think about making the dormers into like pockets where you could like lift up this piece and then put stuff in there, but A, I didn't want to do the work, and B, I worried that like having stuff in there would make it more top heavy and it would like make it hang weird when you're wearing it. So that is this project wrapped up. Thank you so much for watching. I do have one final thing to talk about before I end the video. I mentioned in my previous video that we were getting very close to 10K subscribers, and when we did hit it, I have a project planned to involve all of you guys in. And so as of last night, we hit 10K subscribers. So thank you guys so much. That is so exciting. I don't know what to say. So I'm going to be doing a subscriber designed dress video to celebrate hitting this milestone. So I have created a survey. It'll be linked down in the description. It's really quick, 9 questions, all multiple choice. Won't take you super long. For all questions about the design of the dress, should it have sleeves, how long should the skirt be, colors, color palette, themes, accessories I should include, all of that stuff. That survey will be up for 1 week. It'll be closing on Friday, May the 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you to everyone who left a comment on the previous video giving ideas of items that could be included in the survey. I loved seeing all the different ideas and they were very helpful in creating the final survey. So that will be linked below in the description. Remember to fill it out before Friday, May 2nd. I am so excited for this project. I cannot wait to see what everyone picks. I keep like thinking like, okay, well, if they pick this and this and this, I could go this way. If they do this and this, and like, I have no idea. I don't know what you guys are gonna pick. So I'm a little scared, but I'm mostly excited. So please fill that out if you would like to be involved in this project. Subscribe if you would like to see the video for that whenever that comes out. I have no idea when that's gonna be. Definitely not the next one. I've already got that project planned. Probably the video after next, or after next. Sometime soon. I'm very excited for this. Subscribe if you want to see that. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to leave a like. It really helps me out. Leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on this project, thoughts on the upcoming project. So yeah, that's everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends!